the hour of 5 o'clock. Listen to this quote. 30 years after the Polytechnic massacre in Montreal, which shockingly did not ever receive a public inquiry, surely this time it is our duty to do the right thing and hold a substantive independent inquiry into this recent tragedy. The people of Cumberland Colchester do not want our peaceful, quiet, beautiful little beach communities of Portapique, Wentworth, and De Burt to be remembered for a violent mass murder, but rather like Dunkirk, which served as a turning point for the Allies in Europe. Those two paragraphs bring to a close a letter written by Cumberland Colchester's Liberal MP, Lenore Zann, to the Minister of Public Safety, Bill Blair, calling on Minister Blair to commit to commissioning a public inquiry into the mass murders in Ms. Zann's writing in April. Lenore Zann joins us now. Ms. Zann, welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Where do you see, or where would you like to see this inquiry situated? Where would it happen?
Well, a number of people in the province would like to see it here in Nova Scotia. And obviously this is where the recent massacre occurred. So I agree with that. I just like to make sure that it's arm's length and independent, and that we can really get to the bottom of what happened in the lead up to the event over the few years leading up to it, with regards to, reports that we're hearing that there were concerns by both citizens and also police officers in Truro and Amherst who contacted RCMP at the time over like 2010, 2011, 2013, and said that this gentleman was heard to say he wanted to kill a cop, that he was abusive and violent to his partner, and also that he had uttered death threats to his family and threatened to go to New Brunswick and shoot them. Also, that there was a cache of illegal weapons. So these are all red flags, and I would like to see what exactly happened, why things were done or were not done, and make changes to laws so that we can protect the public and protect women, to be honest. So there are red flag laws that can be enacted that would give people the opportunity to flag people who might become dangerous. And so I'd like to see an inquiry that would incorporate all of that. And also, why wasn't there a public alert sent out either on the Saturday night or the Sunday morning when they realized that they did not have this killer and that he was on the loose?
And when you say arm's length and independent, arm's length from whom?
Well, I don't think the RCMP should be looking into it themselves, for instance. We want to make sure that it's somebody who does not want to cover up anything. Let's say if there were mistakes made. I believe the people that were on the ground were working really, really hard and trying to do their job to make the public safe and to try and find this person. But, if there were red flags over the years where reports were made and nothing was done, why was nothing done? Why did they not act and follow up on those leads when it's pretty clear in hindsight that this gentleman was a violent individual and could act out?
Is this something, Ms. Zann, that you have been hearing a call for from a number of your constituents?
Yes, absolutely. From
people want answers.
All over the place. Oh, yeah, they definitely do. And the families as well. Mm-hmm. I've heard from a number of family members of the surviving families, and they definitely want to see a public inquiry as well and get the answers that we don't have.
Now, we had reports in the news today of Darcy Dobson, who is Heather O'Brien's daughter, saying that they wanted information. And I have reports myself that family members have not really gotten much information in the past 40 days.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I wrote a letter to Bill Blair earlier, but I didn't send it when I wrote it because I wanted to give the province time and the RCMP time to do their investigation and come forward with results. And then on Friday, leading up to this weekend, it's been 6 weeks this weekend since the shooting. And I waited till the end of the day, and nothing was forthcoming. And so I decided it was time to send my letter to Bill Blair. And I did. And also earlier in the week, I did speak directly, personally to the Prime Minister and asked him via Zoom to please support a public inquiry of some sort.
What was his response to that?
Well, he seemed to be extremely understanding about the whole idea about the need for a feminist perspective and a feminist analysis on the issue of domestic violence and the fact that this guy had a history of violence towards his common-law wife and others, and the fact that statistics now show that there is a direct connection between people, mainly men, who are violent in private, who then become publicly violent and create a situation with a mass shooting. He was very, very understanding. And
did he say he was behind it? Did he say, yes, let's do it?
He said, well, he's been waiting for the province because he said,
he does realize the province is waiting for him.
I said that. I said, well, he said, well, that we lease out the RCMP to the province, and policing is a provincial duty and responsibility. I said, yes. However, they're saying that they're waiting on you. I said, so my constituents and the people of Nova Scotia are pretty frustrated by the fact that it's just kind of bouncing back and forth. And he said he understood that, and that I got the impression, without being able to break caucus confidentiality, that there will be something done. And personally, I would like to see a woman running whatever that is. Whether or not it's the province just doing it by themselves or whether it's with the federal government, to be honest, I don't care. I just want them to do it, and I want it to be arm's length, and I want it to be transparent, and we want answers. And we want to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Now, I spoke with the Justice Minister for the province here, Mark Fury, on Friday or Thursday. I'm losing track, of the days. But he was pretty, and the Premier has been, the Minister, Kelly Regan, Community Services, also responsible for the status of women in the province, and Minister Fleury, all are pretty unequivocal, or certainly Ministers Fleury and, or Ministers Fury rather, and Minister Regan had said, we want to collaborate. We want to be part of this.
Okay.
But it has to come from public safety, they say, because they want to make sure that any recommendations that would come out of the commission can be implemented when it comes to concerns about Canada Border Services, the guns coming in.
Right.
And the RCMP across the province. So and I saw that you had in your letter, you had mentioned, reach out to the Premier and get this thing going. How do you see it in the Lenore Zan inquiry? How do you see things break, as far as who takes jurisdiction over what in that inquiry, provinces, federal?
Well, personally, I'd love to see my government, the federal government, converse with the Premier of Nova Scotia and the Justice Minister and the Minister for the Status of Women, who, by the way, I am meeting with tomorrow by Zoom. So I'm having a meeting with Minister Kelly Reagan tomorrow by Zoom about a number of things, and this will be part of it. I've also spoken to the Minister for Women and Girls and Gender Equality, the federal minister, Marianne Monsef, and she seems to be also in agreement that, you know, something has to be done to prevent this happening all the time for women and girls. That the violence has to end, and unfortunately, that is part of the story. That domestic violence, violence against women, femicide, it's all wrapped up, and a lot of regular people don't seem to see the connection, but I think it's our job to teach people that if somebody is violent privately behind doors, that means they can easily be private in public too, and it can become a public menace, and it's about public safety. So along that route, I think that the Minister of Public Safety, Bill Blair, does need to take a role here, and that he needs to get the ball rolling with the province of Nova Scotia, and let's all work together to try and, get somebody to do the investigation, to be in charge of the public inquiry, find out what led up to it, what happens during, why was there no public alert so that this can hopefully never happen again, and also what can be changed legally with laws like red flag laws, for instance, so that we can protect the public, and in particular, women.
Did you get a response at all from the minister's office?
Not yet, no. But I sent it at about 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So it's just been the weekend, and no, I haven't heard anything back yet.
How long do you give him before the minister before you call back? Follow up.
I'll probably give him till the middle of the week, and then I will. I think I'll phone and try and speak to him. But as I said, from my talk with the Prime Minister, I got a positive feeling that something's going to happen. I really did get that feeling. He didn't say for sure, but it was a request. I made a request on behalf of my constituents, on behalf of Nova Scotians, that this is what I would like to see happen. And I got a very positive feeling. So I think something will happen.
And just in the case that it didn't, what? I mean, no. You know what? Maybe we can stay with the positive. I won't be the devil's advocate on this, but what does it mean? I'll phrase the question this way: what does it mean to your constituents that a government, whether it is our federal government or our provincial government or a combination of the two, really take this up and get people the answers they're looking for?
I think it's a tipping point. I think that since, like I wrote in my letter, since there was no public inquiry after the Polytechnique massacre, like none, it took them 30 years to even admit that it was a misogynistic act about why all those young women at the engineering school were murdered by a young man who didn't like feminists. And meanwhile, they didn't even consider themselves feminists. They were women. He separated the men from the women. They didn't even do a public inquiry. It took them 30 years to put a plaque on a wall. So, therefore, there are 22 people now. This is the largest mass killing in the country, in history. Let us learn from our mistakes and let us do the right thing now, and let's get a public inquiry and find out what goes into these kinds of events that are so horrific and so hurtful and destructive for so many people. That's what I'd like to see happen.
And
that's
I guess
pushing it.
finally, I would just like to ask, if you've been in politics a long time, provincially, now federally, when it comes to leadership in times like this and in events like this, the pandemic notwithstanding, but this violence, when people ask for something like an inquiry, we want answers to this. What does it say when our leadership hesitates on even saying, yes, we will do this, and goes back and forth?
Well, I think what you have to understand when you've been in government is that there are different jurisdictions. And you want to make sure that you're not treading on somebody else's jurisdiction or they get really upset. And there's some stuff that's constitutional, of course. So, you know, the RCMP have been trying to do an investigation. I think everybody's trying to give them the time to do that investigation. And they came right out in the early days and said, look, there are 16 different crime scenes. Give us time.
Yeah, and I think that people understand that the investigation has to happen. But it's just to say, no one's saying that this inquiry has to happen right now. But I think people are starting to wonder why neither the provincial nor federal government say, okay, do you know what? We will take this up. To the limits of our ability and jurisdiction, we will do this. It's just gone...
let me put it this way.
Sure.
I don't know why the province is hesitating, since it really, policing is their jurisdiction and it is their duty. Unless they are waiting for the RCMP investigation to be done, which it's not done yet, right? We haven't heard, oh, it's over, they found out everything they want to find out. And we're hearing precious little, to be honest, from the RCMP. Mm-hmm. We're finding out most of the information from intrepid reporters, from reporters who've gone digging into archives and asking neighbors and asking, people like yourself, for instance, and others who are looking into this matter, like investigators, detectives.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting that we're finding out this information, but really it should be coming to us from the RCMP, I would think. So I would say surely this investigation is wrapping up soon, and let's now let somebody arm's length do a public inquiry about what was done, who did what, who didn't do what should have been done, and then we don't want to blame people. We just want to find out so that we can make sure that the right things are done next time and that we can protect the public in future.
Ms. Ann, thank you for your time. Please let us know if the minister gets back to you and when he does.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Lenore Zann is the Liberal MP for Cumberland-Colchester. Last week, she sent a letter to the Public Safety Minister, Bill Blair, requesting an independent and public inquiry into the mass murders.